If you were to type the words Tails Nightmare into YouTube in 2025, you'd probably find a few short 3D animations, or gameplay of a 2D fan game where Tails fights the Tails doll. But back in 2010, something different would come up. Something far more strange and twisted. Something that no longer exists. For those unfamiliar, I'd like to introduce you to Tails Nightmare, the forgotten Sonic Horror series that became lost media.
Well, well, isn't this just like old times?
Some backstory first. Tails Nightmare was a web series that started in 2009, created by YouTuber Mr. Glitch 2000, and produced by Machinima. Yeah, that Machinima. When's the last time you heard that name in the last 15 years? The series was shot through the use of the game Garry'sMod and based on a fanfiction by one Ronan Hunt 0987. His original rendition and interpretation of the story is also lost as far as I can tell, it coming from a now deactivated DeviantArt account. Although there's far less attention on that given that the web series itself was considerably more shocking. The series was notable for taking the world and characters of Sonic and combining them with the darker elements of the Half-Life series, likely as a result from the limitations of Garry'sMod. It was also known for having fairly low production value, with crude animation and subtitles for dialogue instead of voice acting. While due to the nature of the whole lost media thing, the full plot of every episode and story arc is not available, recorded recollections from comments and my own memory are enough to earnestly piece together intriguing bits of this crazy, unique puzzle that was Tails Nightmare. Episode 1 begins with Tails waking up in some sort of abandoned factory. After looking around, he sees a rotting cityscape, lit on fire, filled with roaming monsters and machines. Eventually zombies start shuffling towards him. He tries to hide. He tries to run, but it's all for nothing. Tails slips and falls into a long open incineration pit, and the last thing Tails sees before he dies is the G-Man standing over the edge. As I remember it, the episode ends with Tails waking up in the comfort of his own home. Tails is inconsolable, but the whole thing was just a nightmare. Sonic overhears him and comforts his friend, telling him that it was just a dream, that it'll be okay, and that none of it was real. But outside the house, the G-Man continues watching. You can guess the general gist of the story at this point, most likely. Tails has reoccurring nightmares that the Combine from Half-Life 2 will invade Sonic's world and kill all of his friends, in extremely gruesome ways. Except, these aren't nightmares, they're premonitions. All of the things that Tails dreams about end up foreshadowing future events. In the next episode, Tails has another dream, but this time, once he wakes up, the invasion has already happened, and the world has been completely torn apart and thrown into chaos overnight. A dark turn for the story already. This time, Tails finds his house mostly destroyed, and all of his friends missing, so he goes looking for them. It's around here when Tails begins realizing that the G-Man has been stalking him the entire time, and if he wants to protect his friends, he needs to get to them before the events of these nightmares come true, and the G-Man catches him. The exact details past this point is where things get a little hazy. Besides the fact that it had a fairly long runtime, the series also got a little carried away with its lore and ended up convoluted pretty fast. One of the few existing remnants of the series, the thumbnail for episode 3 is a picture of a crashed plane. Online comments and my own personal recollection support that there was a pretty significant plot point surrounding this crash. What exactly it is, I can't say for sure. It's too hazy. I just can't quite remember. But if the rest of the series is anything to go by, it's very likely involved someone dying in a pretty gruesome way. One thing I do very distinctly remember is a moment from a later episode, I think maybe 5 or 6. One of Tails' friends in this universe is Conker from Conker's Bad Fur Day, but when Tails finds him, he can't believe what he sees. It's Conker. Or what's left of him. This was Conker's charred, decomposing corpse. His legs were ripped completely off, and his face and body were covered in severe, ghastly burns. Tails notes how he can barely recognize him now. He openly wonders how something so terrible could have happened. Interestingly, Conker wasn't the only out-of-place character. This series was full of characters from other media and very strange recolored original characters. I specifically remember a palette swap of Amy with black fur and a blue dress. Online comments related to the fanfiction also seem to keep bringing up a character named Paw, or sometimes they're known as Merrick, which seems to be a darker palette swap of Tails. This I interestingly don't have any memory of seeing. I'm not sure if Blue Amy ended up being an adaptation or gender swap of the character, but that's neither here nor there. Either way, this choice of including these strange, out-of-place individuals helped lend an extra sense of surreal strangeness and unsettling atmosphere to the series already brimming with it. Cheap and poorly made as it was, the series was pretty good at doing exactly what it set out to do. Utterly shock and creep out any viewer that gave it a watch, and that has to deserve massive props. As the series continued, there were, as mentioned before, new bits of lore and character arcs thrown into the mix. This concept art depicts Silver and a human character who had their own moment of trying to take on the G-Man and survive the pending invasion. Then, of course, there are the answers behind what the G-Man was really after. See, Tails' ability of manifesting his nightmares into reality turned out to actively be contagious. Yeah, this wasn't just a twisted supernatural power. It was a virus, the Nightmare Virus. The G-Man wanted to capture Tails so his employers could use his abilities to not only manifest fears, but also infect others to their benefit. I believe the last episode I saw before its cancellation was either episode 21 or 22. The start of the episode is a little hazy, but if I remember it correctly, it starts with Sonic and Tails captured by the Combine and trying to escape. The plan turns bad fast, so with no other option, Sonic sacrifices himself to give Tails time to get out. "Go on without me. The world needs you to make things right. Go while you still can." But that also doesn't last. Just as Tails remembers from his original nightmare, his living body is thrown into a flaming incinerator. Tails dies as he screams out, "No, this is my nightmare. I'm not supposed to die. I can't." And yeah, he dies. It was kind of a big deal in the comment section as I remember it. Elsewhere, Cream and Bootleg Amy are having a heart-to-heart on whether they'll die too someday soon. Unfortunately, they're doing this directly next to a different incinerator. So the G-Man throws Cream in. Blue Amy notices her friend is gone. She mutters, "Cream?" before she too is thrown into the incinerator and killed. The series was cancelled in early 2011 after only 2 years since it began, and was deleted from YouTube later that year. According to its creator, he was no longer interested and motivated to continue with the series or any other series, and wanted to turn over a new leaf. Not only was Tails Nightmare wiped from existence, Mr. Glitch completely nuked all of the content from his channel, going all the way back to 2007. To make matters worse, Mr. Glitch decided to delete the videos in their original form off of his computer as well, to get more storage space. You would think Machinima would have a copy, given that they had their own archival website and they were producers on the project, but no, unless somebody happened to have a bunch of episodes randomly downloaded somewhere. No trace of the videos existed anywhere, and given how small the search for the series was, things weren't looking good. After a few years of looking around, Mr. Glitch, now going by Monarch Monk, began feeling nostalgic and attempted to aid the community of people surrounding this search. Eventually, after going through several hard drives, in April of 2015, Mr. Glitch found the series' custom intro.
Well, isn't this just like old times?
The description of this video acted as a forum for a lot of the search and led to several discussions with Mr. Glitch, where he expressed pretty clearly that this was about all he had on his end, and if the series had any hope of recovery, it would likely have to be from copies some other people had saved.
Well, shit.
For years following, it looked like the entirety of the 30-episode run would remain lost. But on November 20th of 2018, 2 episodes were fully recovered.
What the fuck's that? What the fuck is that?
Except to my surprise, they were newer than anything I knew existed. These found episodes were 23 and 24. How the story continued after almost every character died is a great question, and honestly, after watching, it's just about as ridiculous as it could get. The episode shows Rouge and Dr. Kleiner of Half-Life 2 experimenting on Tails' corpse to try to exterminate the virus while bringing him back to life. Meanwhile, G-Man has Tails' soul trapped in heaven while he waits for his employers to arrive. Sonic, on the other hand, is in water hell. Yeah, I don't get it. Amy is there too, and Sonic fights G-Man to protect her. This is, frankly, a fittingly surreal, strange, and shocking epilogue to the equally shocking series. Keep in mind the series also ran for another 6 episodes after. How this is plausible is anyone's guess, because I'm genuinely at a loss. I will admit, in retrospect, it was kinda neat to see it continue after all these years, but I couldn't help but be a little disappointed that the most memorable episodes from my childhood were still lost in the void of time. To this day, concept art, a thumbnail, fan art, the intro, and 2 episodes still exist on the internet, but finding the entirety of what was is looking increasingly less likely. It has now been 10 years since the recovery of the intro, and 16 years since the cancellation of the series proper. The original writer's DeviantArt account, as mentioned before, is gone, and the only existing upload from Mr. Glitch, the aforementioned intro, now has its comments disabled. So, fair to say, if there is another big push to find the missing content, they likely won't be interested in being involved. Do you remember Tails' Nightmare? Did you see it back when it came out? If nothing else, I figured this would be a fun opportunity to reminisce and raise awareness for this mostly lost series. And while it wasn't exactly known for its high production value, clearly being made by a kid just messing around in Garry's Mod, it still stood out as something very unsettling and unique for what was around at the time. Regardless of any of that, I hope this tale of forgotten memories was a fun and intriguing experience. With all that said, this has been Drox342, wishing you all a nice day.